It's the festive season and the Premier League are dropping gifts on us this December. Plenty of entertaining fixtures to dive into on both sides, and I'm going to give my personal predictions for these, so hopefully you guys will get involved. And yeah, this is game week 13, basically part 2. Because, like I said, games are coming thick and fast. There's a load of stuff ongoing. It's hard to keep up with them at the moment, but that doesn't mean we're going to miss out on any predictions. So, without further ado, I think we should probably get straight into it. The first game on this list is Ipswich versus Crystal Palace. How do we all feel this game is going to go? A big game for both teams. Obviously, both of them near the bottom of the table. They are both currently on 9 points, hanging around the relegation zone. But both of them have also they've actually got a lot in common. Both of them had a lot of impressive results recently. Ipswich have beat Spurs and drew with Manchester United, and Crystal Palace have drew with Newcastle and drew with Aston Villa. So I've got a feeling this game is going to be extremely close, which is why I've gone for a 1-1. I think it's got draw written all over it. Midweek, tough. Players are a little bit tired. I think 1-1 is a pretty fair result. Moving on to the next one. We're just warming up, just heating up. Leicester versus West Ham. I think it's Ruud van Nistelrooy's first game in charge. I need to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it is. So is the form of a manager bounce? I thought West Ham did well on Monday night to beat Newcastle at St James's Park, showed character in the Arsenal game, but were completely overwhelmed and obviously conceded 5 goals. So I'm kind of like torn a little bit, but I think West Ham have more quality on the pitch. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 West Ham win. For the Tuesday night games, which kick off very, very shortly. On to Wednesday, people, 7:30 kickoff. We have Everton versus Wolves. Now, I think on this graphic, I think I've actually put the wrong score, but it doesn't matter. I'll explain my thinking behind it. So, obviously, you got Wolves who are starting to score goals now. They're still a little bit inconsistent with the results, but they've got players who can score goals. Everton have been really struggling with that at the moment. They didn't score one single goal in November, which is just absolute madness, if you ask me. And I know Wolves have players like Cunha, who are banging form at the minute. Strand Larsen got a brace in the last game. So, I think because of that, and because of that only, I think Wolves walk away 2-0. It does say Everton 2-0, but I mean Wolves 2-0. And if Everton win 2-0, then I'll just say I was actually joking. But yeah, I did mean Wolves to win 2-0, just to kind of put it out there. On to the next game, which is one of the biggest question marks I would probably suggest at this moment in time. It's this game here. I don't know why I was scrolling up there. This one right here. Manchester City with the form they're in versus Nottingham Forest. I just have a feeling at some point, right, this mad dip in form has got to stop, hasn't it? I thought Pep would get a point at Anfield. I was sorely wrong on that. Not sorely, I'm not sore, but I'm just saying I was wrong on it. There's no way they lose another one. They cannot lose another one. They can't. It's impossible. So I can't see a stat coming out saying 8 without a win. That'd just unheard of. Imagine the odds on that. It'd be crazy. So for that reason, I've gone with a 2-1 Man City win. But obviously, I hope they lose. I mean, that's just a given, isn't it? Then we have another game of the weekend, which is Newcastle versus Liverpool, again at St James's Park, which is usually a fortress, but I've just said then West Ham beat them at home 2-0 and kept a clean sheet, and West Ham have been shit all season. Newcastle are really, really struggling at the moment. But I know also they have beat Forest and they've beat Arsenal in the last 5 games. So I'm like, it makes it way more difficult trying to predict Premier League games. Honestly, you just never know what's going to happen, which is, I suppose, is why it makes it so exciting, right? But Liverpool are flying at the moment, so I will say I'll go with a 3-1 Liverpool win. But I think it'll be very entertaining, and I think that'll be the barn burner. I should have added the fire emoji onto that, but that's my barn burner for the weekend. And speaking of barn burners, this prediction is a bit. Maybe this should have been the banana skin. I'm not sure. Potentially, I have got another one in there, but this is one to be considered. Southampton versus Chelsea. I thought Southampton actually performed quite well against Brighton. and got a draw against them. And I know it's a mad prediction, and I know people will agree with me, but because of how wild and crazy the Premier League is, I think there might be a form of complacency with Chelsea going into this. And I think Southampton might snatch a draw. So I've gone 1-1, Southampton-Chelsea. Call me crazy, I don't care. That's what I'm going with. Now, speaking of banana skins, Arsenal versus Manchester United, people. This is the one. A throwback, nostalgic, but two teams that are in completely different positions at the moment. I think it's going to be a banana skin. Everyone thinks Arsenal's going to batter us. The onus is on them to keep pace with Liverpool. There's no pressure on us because we've been shit since the start of the season. So, we have been inconsistent. I'm not saying that's an excuse to go and play poorly, but I just mean, I think the pressure's on Arsenal. Because if we beat them, well, they're 13 points behind Liverpool. You can call your title goodbye, which is almost gone anyway. I mean, if United win, that would be a real dagger, and I think United players will be up for it. And I also think Ruben Amorim will have a plan. So guess what, people? I'm going United to win 2-1. That's right. I'm going bold. Very bold. Don't care. I believe in my side. I believe in the team. I believe in the boys. And I believe in Ruben Amorim. So let me know your thoughts on that game. Very interested to hear everyone's predictions on that. All right, who have we got next up? Good evening. Good evening. Unai Emery's Aston Villa versus Thomas Frank's Brentford. I can see Ollie Watkins shining in this game. Villa in terrible form. I get it. They need to bounce back. Brentford's away form isn't the best. I don't know even know if they've won one game away yet. I know that they're quite solid at the G-Tech. So I think it's Villa. Pretty comfortable. 2-0 for me. I think so, and keep an eye on Ollie Watkins. I'd probably captain this weekend if you're an FPL user. Next up, Fulham versus Brighton. Two teams that are, I don't know if you want to say overachieve. I'll just give the score there, haven't I? Well, that's my score prediction, so that's kind of giving it away. But I just think, yeah, it's not a given, but these teams are the ones that are kind of punching above the weight. They're mixing it up with some of the big boys. I think Michael Silva's done a phenomenal job at Fulham. I think likewise with Herzler at Brighton, and I think they'll go neck and neck. I think Harry Wilson's smashing it in form at the minute. Jimenez getting a couple of goals. And likewise with Brighton, you know all the players that they've got, you know how good they are. So I think this will be a 2-2. It was meant to be a surprise prediction, but there you go. You can have that, 2-2. And then the last game of part 2 of game week 13, we have got Bournemouth versus the mighty Spurs. I look at this game and I'm like, Spurs will either win 4-0 and Maddison will get a couple of assistant goals and Son will get a couple of assistant goals and Kulusevski will get one and they'll go mad, or they'll lose 3-1 or something. So I actually don't know. I don't know. I'm very torn on this because Spurs are so hard to. They beat Villa 4-0. They beat City 4-0 or 4-1 or whatever it was. But they lost to Crystal Palace, and then they lose to Ipswich, and it's like, can this team make their mind up? So if they lost to them kind of teams, you'd think they'd lose to Bournemouth, but I'm going to go with a 3-1 win, I think. I think that's probably fair, right? Spurs to beat Bournemouth 3-1. But I'm telling you, the league table at the moment is competitive. I wish I had it on the back screen, to be fair, because you look at the points gaps, like 3-4. Villa are in 12th now. I think Newcastle just dropped down to the bottom half of the table. We've pushed up into 9th. Forest is still at it. Fulham is still at it. Brighton is still at it. God knows what is going to happen over the next couple of weeks. I mean, you will see teams significantly drop and significantly rise. And that's why, people, it is the best league in the world. So don't forget to get your banana skins in for any kind of slip-ups out of any of these fixtures, any of them. And get your barn burners in as well for what you think could be a high-scoring game. I want to hear everyone's predictions. So hopefully everyone enjoys the game. We've got a game kicking off tonight. Obviously, the Ipswich and Palace and Leicester and West Ham. So let's see how they go. And let's see if my predictions are right or if they're wrong. That's what we're here for, right? Take it easy, everyone. Smash a like in the video. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.